Welcome to the video, and you can see all the adverts that I click on a lot of shoes. This is Road CC, and here is an old article. Someone gave a shout out to me. Thank you to all the readers who do send me things. I appreciate it. I don't always reply to everyone, but I do appreciate I'm watching. Anyway, this is Alberto Contador, the legend, the man, the myth, the high hematocrit levels, getting it done, doing what it takes to win. And Alberto Contador has a great story. He came back from a brain issue, etc. And, you know, a cat with 9 lives for sure. Anyway, this is about how Alberto Contador hates road disc, all right? Disc for dirt, rim for road. Look at all the spokes in there. It catches the wind. When you hit a crosswind with disc brake bike, it catches the wind. And look at that rotor. That is not more aero. People say, Harley, durianrider, you don't talk much about aero. If you're riding rim brakes, you got the most aero bike out there compared to the same equivalent model in disc brakes. Less spokes, no rotors. It means your bike is way more aero in crosswinds and headwinds. It's physics. It's physics. Anyway, I've ridden this actual SL5, and it was a lot stiffer than the current SL7 because it was just heavier. And you know, and it's a great gravel bike setup. Okay, but for road, it's just no go. Anyway, what does Alberto Contador really think of road disc? We'll scroll down. This is 6 years ago, so this is when pro cyclists could sort of share their opinion, and it didn't really go that far because social media reach didn't have much of a reach back in 2016 compared to now, where things can just go viral. So this is, remember, our late friend Richard Moore from the Cycling podcast was there, and I think it was at Tenerife or Ibiza, one of the two. And he did speak to Bertie, aka Contador, and apparently he mentioned something about wanting to throw the bike off the cliff. And this is a direct quote from Cycling podcast Richard Moore, rest in peace. He was riding, referring to Alberto Contador. So Alberto Contador was riding a Specialized with disc brakes, aka the tarmac we see in the pictures. He was taking the opportunity to try those. I don't think he was very impressed with them, actually. He did talk at one point of throwing the bike over the side of the mountain, which suggests he doesn't like them that much. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Exactly. If you know, you know. Every single experienced racer rider I know who's gotten onto road disc fucking hates it. They're like, man, this bike doesn't feel as aggressive and accelerates as good as my rim brake model. Whether you're talking about the giant TCR, the giant Propel, the Specialized Tarmac, the Specialized Venge, the Trek Madone, Domane, Amonda, the Pinarellos, the Cannondale Super 6s, all that stuff, System 6, whatever. Every single person agrees with me. If they've ridden the old version, rim brake, and the new version, disc brake, everyone agrees with me. Durianrider, I think you're a douchebag. I think you're the biggest douchebag on the internet. But I do agree, road disc sucks in terms of maintenance, in terms of weight, in terms of price, in terms of how expensive the rotors are compared to rim brake shoes, etc., etc. All right? Have you ever worn out a pair of carbon rims? I haven't, okay? And I've ridden over 450,000 Ks on the road bike, okay? So it's just, you know, use the right brake pads, people. Some people are using the wrong pads on their carbon rims and wonder why their rims are getting chewed out. But this is the facts. The latest disc brake bikes that replaced the rim brake models beforehand are absolute garbage. Now you have to eliminate variables. You can't go, well, I had a Specialized Tarmac, a Sora edition, and the gears didn't work properly because the derailleur hanger was bent, and it had some, like, you know, dirt heavy 2,000 gram wheel set and Maxxis Refuse strong but slow tires on it, and then I got on an SL7 and it feels a lot better because it's got TI2. No. Yeah, it'll feel better because you had like the worst of the worst in terms of how your bike was set up. But if we're talking apples for apples, SRAM red SL1 to SL6 tarmac rim brake with some nice Raval carbon rims, compared to the SL7, SL8 SRAM red hydro disc monstrosity, everyone agrees the rim brake equivalent spec bike always outperforms, weighs less, costs less to maintain, costs less to purchase. Okay, well, okay, you're right, Durianrider, you're right, yes. And it's not about me being right. It's not about my ego. This is about protecting cycling. The passion you get If you know, you know. All right. If you've ever ridden these sub 7 kilo rim brake bikes from these big brands, the Super Sixes, the Tarmacs, they're so fucking nice to ride, man. If you know, you know. Properly tuned, not with a bent derailleur hanger, not with tyres at 60 psi, like proper pumped up bike, like race ready, man. Race tuned by a good mechanic, all right? These bikes fucking rock, man. They launch. They fucking launch. They were so aggressive. And I put people on these bikes. I put my girlfriends on these bikes, whatever, whoever, and they just ride faster. They ride more aggressively. They push up the hills better. And these new bikes, they're sluggish tanks. They don't inspire that same level of aggressive fitness, calorie burning riding that you have on these, you know, the lightweight bikes back in the day. They just don't. And if you know, you know. All right. So this is me protecting cycling. Everybody out there deserves to ride a super lightweight, nice race bike feeling thing. You know, whether you can ride an aggressive setup or whether you ride like an endurance spec with a high stack height like a Giant Defy or a Specialized Roubaix. Like my Specialized Roubaix SL4 is a fucking weapon, man. It's like under 7 kilos, rim brake, it's stiff as fuck. You put the power down and you're like, bam, I'm glad I'm using steroids so I can get the maximum amount of power into this bike because this bike rocks, all right? If you know, you know. But the latest Roubaix, it's a fucking mountain bike with drop bars, man. It's heavy and sluggish and flexy. And it's great if you want to ride trails, all right? You want to carve up some single track, go ride the Specialized Roubaix. Yeah, but we're talking road bikes. And it's like the gender issue, you know, like he, she, they, them, or whatever. Like, now we've got road bikes that identify as fucking gravel bikes, all right? And if that's what you're into, that's okay. I'm not saying that's wrong. But to say that a road bike is something with 10 million spokes on the front and big pizza cutter rotors that you can slice up pizza with, that's not a road bike, mate. It is not a road bike, okay? It's not a road bike. A road bike has rim brakes, skinny tyre clearance, 25mm tyres, max 28, all right, designed for smooth, French, or Thai, or Adelaide tarmac. It's fucking under 7 kilos around abouts, all right, 7.2 maybe if you're body positive. You know, just... It's a road bike, man. It's a fucking road bike. It doesn't cross-identify as a gravel bike where you put in 40mm tyres on or 34s or whatever. That's a gravel bike, okay? If you live on cobbles, if your driveway's made of cobbles, okay, ride that gravel bike, all right? But this is... And Specialized... I target Specialized because they are the biggest brand, the most well-known brand, I would say, in cycling today because they've got the best marketing and they sign the best dopers, etc. You know, history proves me right on that, and that's fine. That's what Nike do. It's what all big brands do, Adidas, etc. No sportswear brand is big because they signed natty riders, right? They sign the dope to the doped, and if those riders get busted, they flick them away and say, oh, whoa, we didn't know about that. You know, look what they did, what Trek and Shimano and Nike did with Lance Armstrong. When the truth came out, they're like, sorry, mate. See you later. Next. It's disgusting. It's consumer level. It's consumerism on steroids, bad steroids. It's consumerism on trend, 1,000 milligram a week keto diet. It's absolute disaster. It's bad. Anyway, Specialized. You've destroyed your own brand, in my opinion. You've destroyed your own road lineup. Your latest bikes are absolute fucking junk. You killed the Tarmac. You killed the Roubaix. You killed the LA. They're all just crappy, overpriced, Chinese. Actually, nothing wrong with the Chinese. But if something's made in China, if a carbon frame's made in China, how the fuck is it landing for $7,000 here in Australia in the shops? You know what I mean? Or $5,000 or whatever. It's a joke, mate. It's a fucking joke. Like the latest Epic dual suspension S-Works is like the same price as a fucking Yamaha or Kawasaki, you know, Suzuki trail bike. You know, like how the fuck does that work, man? Like look at all the materials and the science and the tech that goes into a trail bike or a motorbike, road bike versus, you know, it's a fucking joke. It's a piss take, and it's taken people away from cycling. You know, because they ride these bikes like back in the day. If you had an S-Works Tarmac in 2013, you had a fucking sick bike, and you still do. If you've got a 2013 Tarmac or a 2010 Tarmac SL1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rim brake, you still got a fucking sick bike. And if it's got SRAM red or some Di2 on there or whatever, or Durace Mechanical and some Rival carbon rims or whatever, something nice, some Fulcrum Racing Zeros, that's a fucking sick bike, and it's still better than anything in the Tour de France today. If you know, all right? But here's the thing, a lot of people out there haven't ridden all the bikes like I have. So they don't know. They just think, well, Harley's just some weirdo guy who eats bananas in South Australia. I'll listen to GCN. I'll listen to Road CC. I'll listen to Bike Radar. I'll listen to the fucking Dave Arthur crew, the shills out there who, or the shills out there who get paid by the big brands to promote shit, or the guys out there who are trying to get popular in the cycling platform on YouTube. And so they'll be like, oh, I'm not getting paid, but I'll cower down and promote Road Disc. All right, or I'll pretend durianrider doesn't exist because I don't want any controversy. I don't want to get any menopausal mammal Karen type dudes giving me crap in the comment section. Oh, I might not be able to handle that. And in the meantime, the noobs who watch your shit, they're the losers, man. Me and you ain't the losers. It's the noobs out there who believe your shit because you ain't standing up for the truth. You got to speak up, man, and defend cycling. If you don't, you're just a pussy beater. That's my opinion, all right? And you can disagree with me, but you're still going to be wrong. Speak up. Defend cycling, right? Defend the noobs. Everyone was a noob. I was a noob back then. And I would go in the bike shop back in 97, get my first road bike, and people were straight up fucking honest with me. I'm like, oh, should I save up for a dura-race? No, dude, the Tegra's fine, all right? 8-speed's fine. Or should I get 9? No, dude, 8-speed's fine. Just get this bike. It's on sale, $2,000, get it. Don't spend 3.5 on the 9-speed old Tegra or whatever. Just this one's fine, all right? Just get some race tyres. You'll be good to go. They were honest with me. They didn't fucking try and upsell me. And so I remember that and I pay it forward. But even if I did get ripped off, and I have been ripped off by Specialized, I've been ripped off by Cycling News, who's now Escape CC. They're still doing the same fucking scam, in my opinion, where they'll just promote shit that's trending or promote what they get kickbacks from or what they'll get money from. Even if it's shit, they'll still promote it. Like the S-Works, Epic, or the SL7. I got sucked into that. I was like, well, it's Specialized. I've had a good run with them. It must be good. This new stuff's always getting better, isn't it? It's a fucking disgrace. The cycling industry is in the worst position ever. There's so much money in it. There's so much greedy motherfuckers out there. And excuse the bogan Aussie French, but it's just, I got to say it, man. I got to vent, all right? We have to stand up and speak out against these fucking shills, these pussy beaters, these, gravel road fluid identifying 34mm tyre, disc brake hydros, 10 million spokes in the front wheel people out there who are just shilling this shit product. And the mechanics hate working on it, man. Imagine being in a bike shop now and having the latest disc brake road bikes come in for the 10th time. The rotors are rubbing. It's like, fuck, of course they're rubbing. These things are pieces of shit. But you can't say that to the customer. You go, no worries, come back tomorrow, we'll get it sorted. Then the customer takes the wheel off in the car, in the Audi, bends the derailleur, brings the bike back in, it's still rubbing, this bike's shit, I'm going back to golf. Or they tell their partner about, oh, this bike's just, it's cost me $20,000 on a bike, Stuart. Fitzgerald, you spent 20 grand on a bike, and it's in and out of the shop all the time. It's in the shop more times than you ride it. Who's inspired to ride those bikes? Or you get a scratch on you get a bit of chain suck in the bottom bracket, and you lose $5,000 in the resale value of the bicycle. I mean, you get a 20 grand S-Works today, you walk out the shop, you ride it once or twice, you're losing 10 grand. You're trying to sell a $20,000 bike for $10,000 on Facebook Marketplace. Good luck, you're dreaming, all right? It's going to be so much harder. You're better off with the second-hand S-Works stuff, near new, from the barrister who did a keto diet and blew their legs out and never rode again, all right? Or the person who didn't have a proper bike set up and their seats slid back, so they never rode the bike again because they just put too much pressure on their prostate, all right? They're the deals you want. If you know, you know. The barrister, the accountant, the surgeon, the dentist. They have bikes in immaculate condition. They hardly ride because they get caught up in the latest diet bullshit, and so their power FTP goes from maybe 250 down to 170, and they just quit riding. The bikes stay there forever, and they become daddy long legs mating houses. They can become brothels, spider brothels, where spiders are having sex on the bike, and just like little brothels on the bike full of spiders. That's what it is. It's a brothel bike full of daddy long legs scared gangbangs. It's just, and if you know, you know. And these bikes are great to ride because they're just designed back in the day when performance was the parameter people chased. And now it's Instagram clout, and it's bullshit, and it's sad, and cycling's dying, and it's sad to see. And people think I'm crazy, but if you know, you know. And there's a small minority of people out there who get it, all right? But unfortunately, a lot of people don't get it. And that's why these big brands can rip people off, and they're destroying cycling at the expense of so many good things in the world. The cycling's such an important sport in the world, all right? We need to have more bums on bikes. It's good for the commuting. It's good for your mental health. It's good for your waistline. It's good for the environment. Cycling ticks so many boxes, man. Why are we making cycling harder, to get people into? Now, there's this thing of like, well, Harley, if the bikes are expensive, people respect cycling more. I get that. But we don't need to have $20,000 bikes, man. $10,000 is a cap. All right, let's cap the price of bikes, man. Like 10 grand's still a fucking lot of money to spend on something that's made in fucking China. All right, by workers that couldn't afford it. Like 10 grand, come on, that's a lot of money. 20 grand? What are we doing, man? It's just a piss take, okay? It's a piss take. It's Veblen goods. And Veblen's goods is not what cycling needs, okay? Cycling needs to be more accessible. And the bikes, you know, okay, if it's 20 grand, at least make it ride better than a fucking bike from 10 years ago. Imagine that. You spend $20,000 Australian, latest S-Works bike, and it rides slower and is heavier than a $10,000 Specialized, you know, that was an epic bike back 10 years ago. Imagine that. Imagine buying a phone today that's double the price of something from 2010 and it's slower, has a worse camera. Not going to happen. Specialized, pull your finger out, get back to good shit. You lead the industry, stop leading the industry down a hole. That's what you've done, and it's shit. And cycling influencers, stop being greedy fucking shills. The sad part is, a lot of us cycling influencers, we don't have to worry about money, alright? We've got money, man. You'd be surprised at the amount of money most cycling influencers already have. So shilling out and just lying or being a beta pussy because you're trying to be popular or whatever, it sucks, man. It's bullshit. And that's why so many YouTubers have depression, because they just cower down to the social narratives and they care more about being popular than contributing to society. And if that's the case, no matter who you are, whatever niche you're in, cycling or running or ballet, you're going to feel like a depressed motherfucker because you're going to feel worthless. Because especially as a man, you're going to feel like a little meek mouse, all right? Because you have no voice. You just like, or your voice you're using just to please people with bullshit marketing crap. You know who I'm talking about, all right? It's bullshit, man. And it's just, it breaks apart good things. And I use cycling as a great example, but it goes across society. It's not just cycling. Just people cowering down to misinformation, fake news, or bullshit. Or they know the truth, but they're scared to speak up for fear of social disapproval. And that, I guarantee you, is going to lead to depression. Because no matter how much money you've got in your life, or fame, or likes, or comments, or subscribers, you will feel empty and void inside, because you know the important things you should be fucking saying, you're not fucking saying. Or you're making up bullshit. You're always going to feel depressed. Your life's going to feel fucking worthless. Because your purpose is void. Think about it. Speak the fuck up. You know the truth. Don't be another cowering beta motherfucker on YouTube just saying shit because that's what the trend says to say. Fuck that. Be better. Do better. Be the change you want to fucking see. Alright? Be the change you want to see. Think of the kids. Think of the noobs. Have ethics and morals. Stand the fuck up and speak the fuck up. Don't be another cycling news, escape CC, whatever, blah, 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 sellout. Alright? The worst thing we can do for sellouts is be another fucking sellout. Peace and love.